Many would say that Supreme Calamitous is the strongest boss in the Calamity mod. However, I would have to disagree, because despite Supreme Calamitous being the final boss, we don't know how strong Supreme Calamitous is in a game of Hunger Games. I have all Calamity bosses, mini bosses, and removed bosses here. All 2 of them. I mean, there's probably more, but there's only so many bosses you can put in. But then again, I don't. So anyways, let's see. So Brimstone Elementals already. Colossal Squid repeatedly stabs Cragmore Maya to death. Ravager runs away. Profaned Guardians takes a sickle. Poltergeist runs away. Earth Elemental and the Lord fight for a bag. Earth Elemental gives up and retreats. Great Grand Shark runs away from the cornucopia. Crapulon, the perfect being, runs away from the cornucopia. Reaper Shark knows not to mess with the Devourer of Gods. Unless Reaper Shark wants to become the Devourer's breakfast. Providence runs away. Cryogen clutches a first aid kit. Eidolon Worms run away. Cloud Elemental runs away with a lighter and some rope. Astrodeus runs away. Might I say how terrible Worms had it in this? Astrodeus runs away. Yaren runs away. Probably trying to find Yaren despite him not being here because of, not in the game yet, so I can't really put him in this. Calamitous, Desert Scourge, Armored Digger, and the Perforators share everything they gathered before running. More examples of Worms not having the best treatment here. Giant Clam runs away. The Plague Bringer Goliath runs away. Astromarchius grabs a jar and a fishing bait while the Hive Mind gets fishing gear. The Slime God runs away. Nuclear Terror snatches a pair of says. Aquatic Scourge finds a bow, some arrows, and a quiver. Sentinels of the Devourer run away, probably trying to find Providence, who also ran away. Astrogeldon runs away. Supreme Calamitous grabs the shield. Plaguebringer runs away. Siren and Leviathan run away. The old Duke finds a backpack full of camping equipment, and the Dragon Folly finds a canteen full of water. Proceed. Brimstone Elemental runs away from the Ravager. The Slime God hunts for other tributes. Calamitous begs for Giant Clam to kill him. She refuses, leaving Calamitous alive. Supreme Calamitous discovers a cave. Cloud Elemental sees smoke rising in the distance but decides not to investigate. Armored Digger and Aquatic Scourge work together for the day. Nuclear Terror injures herself. Colossal Squid practices his archery. Oh, and did I forget to mention that I did not change the genders? The Lord goes hunting. The Plaguebringer, he probably went hunting for Fapsol for removing the Lord from the mod. The Plaguebringer Goliath scares the old Duke off. Earth Elemental runs away from Astrogeldon. The Dragon Folly pushes the Hive Mind off a cliff during a knife fight. What? Reaper Shark diverts the Perforator's attention and runs away. Desert Scourge, Astrodeus, and Sentinels of the Devourer hunt for other tributes. Crapulon begs for Providence to kill. Providence refuses. Yaren receives an explosive from Yarum. Siren and Leviathan collect fruit. Great Sand Shark tries to spear a fish with a trident. Why? Astrum Arceus receives some medical supplies from Draydon. The Devourer of Gods searches for firewood. And also his sentinels. Eidolon worms, Cryogen, profaned guardians, and poltergust raid Plaguebringer's camp while Plaguebringer is hunting. And it looks like Cragmore and the Hive Minds are the first to die. So those are two of the weakest bosses in Calamity. Giant Clam goes to sleep, the Perforators try to sing themselves to sleep. Cryogen and Yaren run into each other and decide to truce for the night. Before Cryogen melts, Armored Digger and Plaguebringer run into each other and decide to truce. Ravager thinks about winning. Colossal Squid and the Sentinels sleep in shifts. Poltergust attempts to start a fire, but is unsuccessful. The Plaguebringer Goliath. Calamitous and Reaper Shark huddle for warmth. Astrum Death and Crabulon talk about the tributes still alive. Yeah, there's a lot of them still. None of them being humans. Great Sand Shark and Brimstone Elemental. Huddle for war. Huddle for warmth. Providence thinks about home. In the sun. Astromarchus is awoken by nightmares. Eidolon worms and the aquatic scourge tell stories about themselves to each other. Yeah, I kill anyone who uses a rod of discord in the abyss. Really? The old Duke throws a knife into Supreme Calamitus's head. Supreme Calamitus is the third weakest boss in the Calamity mod. Siren and Leviathan climb on a tree. The Lord questions its sanity, especially being a meme king at this point. Nuclear Terror throws a knife into the profaned guardians' heads. Desert Scourge and Desert Scourge, Astral Geldon, and the Devourer of Gods discuss the games and what might happen in the morning. The Devourer of Gods is probably starving by now. The Slime God is awoken by nightmares. Cloud Elemental and Earth Elemental run into each other and decide to truce for the night. The Dragon Folly stays awake all night. Desert Scourge receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Calamitus's trap kills the Dragon Folly. The Calamitous clone killed Dragon Folly. The Burb is dead. Plaguebringer Goliath collects fruit from a tree. Crabulon runs away from the poltergust. Giant Clam tries to spear a fish with a Y. Nuclear Terror overhears Astrum Deaths and Jungle Dragon Yaren talk in the distance. Ravager sets Reaper Shark on fire with a Molotov. The Devourer of Gods defeats Eidolon worms in a fight, but spares their lives. Plaguebringer runs away from the Brimstone Elemental. Astromarchus diverts Colossal Squid's attention and runs away. Sentinels discover a cave. Great Sandshark tries to sleep through the each other day. The Lord still questions its sanity. The Perforators stalk the Armored Digger. The Slime God is still hunting for other tributes. Siren and Leviathan see smoke rising in the distance, but decide not to investigate. Astrogeldon overhears Aquatic Scourge and Providence talking. Cryogen receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. The elementals work together for the day, apart from Brimstone. The old Duke picks flowers. So Supreme Calamitous died, Profaned Guardians died, the Dragon Folly died, and Reaper Shark died. So those bosses are pretty weak, considering that there's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11, 15, 20, 25, 30 bosses remaining. Let me just check. 5, 11, 15. Oh yeah, 2 bosses died in. Yeah, I'm gonna proceed. The slime god receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Brimstone elemental starts a fire. Siren, Leviathan, and the Perforators fight. Astrogeldon and Great Sandshark. Astrogeldon and Great Sandshark survive. So there go those two. The 2 removed bosses still being alive. Yarim receives another explosive from Yarim. Astromarchius stays awake all night. Aquatic Scourge kills Nuclear Terror. Armored Digger is unable to start a fire and sleeps without warmth. Giant Clam is being kept alive by Calamity. The Lord is awoken by nightmares of Fapsol killing it. Crabulon sees a fire but stays hidden. Colossal Squid kills Astromdeus. Cloud Elemental defeats Providence in a fight but spares the god's life. Ravager tends to Desert Scourge's wounds. Earth Elemental taints the Plaguebringer Goliath's food, killing her. I'm not sure how that works, but it's the Hunger Games. The Devourer of Gods stabs the old duke with a tree branch. Well, that gives the Devourer of Gods food for a while. Sentinels set up camps, still unable to find a Devourer. Poltergeist receives clean water. Eidolon worms start a fire. Crygen is awoken by nightmares. Plaguebringer quietly hums. Sentinels of the Devourer sprain their ankles despite none of them having legs while running away from the Desert Scourge. Aquatic Scourge discovers a river. The river is now its home. The Lord camouflages itself in the Giant Clam is raided by these 4. These 5 hunt for other tributes. Earth Elemental constructs a shack. Yaren receives fresh food from Yarim. Eidolon worms receive fresh food from someone. Ravager sees smoked but decides not to investigate. Plaguebringer receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. The slime god kills the perfect being. The Devourer of God searches for firewood. Astrogeldon fishes. Colossal Squid travels to higher ground. Oh, there are a lot of deaths. Siren, Leviathan, the Perforators, Nuclear Terror, Astromdeus, the Plaguebringer, the Old Duke, Crabulon. It is a sad day when the perfect being dies. District 1 only has 1 member left. District 4 only has 1 member left. District 5 only has 1 member left. District doesn't have Nuclear Terror, but it still has the 2 removed bosses. The Lord still hasn't killed anyone. The Sentinels and the Devourer are still alive. The Devourer has a kill. Colossal Squid has killed 2 people. Now let's proceed. Eidolon worms destroyed Cloud Elemental supplies. Astromarchius receives fresh food from Draydon. The Devourer of Gods receives fresh food from Yarim. Providence forces the Slime God to kill Calamitous or Ravager. He decides to kill Ravager. Sentinels of the Devourer, Armored Digger, and Earth discuss the games and what might happen in the morning. Crygen screams for help. Desert Scourge cries itself to sleep. Yaron sees a fire but stays hidden since he can just warm up the air. Great Sandshark destroys Giant Clam supplies while she is asleep. Brimstone Elemental kills the Lord. Aquatic Scourge and Astrogeldon huddle for warmth. I would hate to imagine what that looks like. Plaguebringer tries to treat her infection. Ah yes, Yarim. Ah yes, Plaguebringer tries to treat mind control. What a good idea. Poltergeist and Colossal Squid talk about the tribute still alive. Cloud Elemental picks flowers. Brimstone sees smoke rise in the distance but decides not to investigate. Giant Clam receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Eidolon worms, the Great Sand Shark, Poltergeist and Providence raid Aquatic Scourge's camp while they are hunting. Colossal Squid searches for firewood. Astromarchius and Calamity split up to search for resources. Desert Scourge sets the Devourer of Gods on fire. Now the Sentinels want to know the Desert Scourge's location. Yaren receives medical supplies from Yarim. Cryogen tries to sleep. Astrogeldon, Earth Elemental, and Plaguebringer get into a fight. Earth Elemental triumphantly kills them both. Did both of the removed bosses just die? I think they did. Sentinels of the Devourer of Fish, Slime God goes hunting, Armored Digger picks flowers. Today is a sad day. The Lord and Astrogeldon were killed. See everyone's status. The Desert Scourges killed the Devourer. The Slime God is still alive. Cryogen is still alive. Brimstone, Aquatic Scourge, Calamitous is still alive. Astromarchius is still alive. Providence and the Sentinels are still alive. District 5 is dead. District 7 has Poltergeist. District 8 has Yaren and Giant Clam. You know, out of the 3 supposedly hardest bosses in the game, Yaren is the only survivor at the moment. Earth Elemental, Cloud Elemental are the only ones left in District 9. Armored Digger and Great Sand Shark are left. Colossal Squid and Reaper Shark. And the Eidolon worms are still left. Probably being carried by the adult Eidolon worm. And Nuclear Terror and District 12 is dead. Back to Fallen Tributes. Let's proceed. Cloud Elemental and Eidolon worms run into each other and decide to treat for the night. The Slime God tries to treat the infection. Calamitous sets up camp for the night. Aquatic Scourge tries to treat the infection. Sentinels, Great Sand Shark, Giant Clam, and Astromarchius sleep in shifts. Jungle Dragon Yaren and Earth Elemental talk about the tribute still alive. I'm surprised Supreme Calamitous was one of the first to die. Cryogen stabs Armored Digger. Colossal Squid, Poltergeist, and Brimstone Elemental sleep in shifts. Desert Scourge accidentally detonates a landmine while trying to arm it. You're telling me that the Desert Scourge killed the Devourer of Gods and then got killed by a landmine? But you know what they say, a god does not fear death. Eidolon worms travel to higher ground. Sentinels of the Devourer receives clean water from Yarim fishes. Calamitous stalks Cryogen. Earth Elemental travels to higher ground. Cloud Elemental stalks Colossal Squid. Astromarchius practices archery. Providence thinks about home. The Slime God discovers a river. Yes, more slimes. The Great Sand Shark falls into a frozen lake and drowns. Excuse me, but what? Giant Clam receives an explosive. Poltergeist falls into a pit and dies. Poltergeist survived in the dungeon for a long time. And you're telling me it died by falling into a pit? It's already dead! And the Brimstone Elemental sprained her ankle. Earth Elemental climbs a tree. Colossal Squid cooks food. Brimstone Elemental accidentally steps on the landmine. Aquatic Scourge loses sight of where they are. Eidolon Worm tries to climb. Oh, come on. Yaren sees a fire but stays hidden. Slime God thinks about winning. Providence is unable to start. Are you kidding me? Giant's clan bleeds out. Cryogen tends to wounds. Sentinels of the Devourer, Cloud Elemental, and Calamitous cheerfully sing a song together. The Devourer is dead. Sentinels, Earth, and Yaren confront each other but grab what they want to slowly to avoid conflict. Cloud Elemental pushes Aquatic Scourge off a cliff during a knife fight. Calamitous decides not to go to the feast. Oh wait, it's the feast. Colossal Squid stuffs a bundle of dry clothing into a backpack before sprinting away. Cryogen and the slime god threaten a double suicide. It fails and they die. Providence decides not to go to the feast. Colossal Squid and Providence fight Jungle Dragon, Yaren, and Yaren is dead. Calamitous attacks Sentinels of the Devourer, but the Sentinels manage to escape. Who's left? Calamitous, Providence, Sentinels, Cloud Elemental, and Colossal Squid. Are the only survivors? Providence, Cloud Elementals tell stories. Calamitous cooks food. Sentinels tend to Colossal Squid's wounds. Proceed. Cloud Elemental discovers the cave. Providence. Okay. No cannon shots can be. Sentinels of the Devourer, Cloud Elemental, and Colossal Squid get into a fight. Sentinels triumphantly kill them both. Providence and Calamitous huddle for warmth. Sentinels discover a river. Providence receives fresh food. Calamitous makes a slingshot. So the only ones remaining now are Calamitous, Providence, and the Sentinels. Sentinels of the Devourer try to sing themselves to sleep. Providence bleeds out. Calamitous dies. The winner of the Sentinels. No, not the Devourer of Gods. The Sentinels. The Calamitous clone went in second place. Providence in third place. Now where's Supreme Calamity? Yaren's 7th place. Supreme Calamitous is 34th place. Only being worse than the Hive Mind and Kragnor. More. Someone who could probably have a good chance of beating Yaren is in 34th place. But this is the Hunger Games we're talking about here. Nothing makes sense. The Servants of the Scourge won. Seems as if this is the death. So, Supreme Calamitous didn't even get past day 1. Day 1. You know, night 2 was pretty eventful. With Siren, with the Siren Leviathan Perforators, Nuclear Terror, Astromdeus, Plaguebringer Goliath, and the old Duke dying in the same day. That's a lot. Hey, at least the winner's a Ghost Moonlord boss. However, Colossal Squid got the most kills. So, the Sentinels that confirms it. The Sentinels of the Devourer are the strongest bosses in the Calamity mod.